Swift movement through the wilderness, courtesy of a mountain bike and a piece of infrastructure known as the trail. It started out as a happy accident. Ancient utilitarian footpaths and single tracks which, with their relatively ideal gradients, curves and surfaces, captured the imagination of our sport and inspired us to hone our equipment and plan recreational escapades. So inevitable now is this combination of vehicle and infrastructure that where it's deemed necessary or worthwhile, we even build new trails for purpose, mimicking or indeed amplifying the sensation inadvertently provided by those primitive tracks. Unfortunately, as mountain bikers, we're often accused of being a destructive force, and nobody can argue with the fact that, in many places, for various reasons relating to intensive use, conflicts have arisen and are widespread, and questions over the practice of our sport often find themselves at the centre of it all. But what about the opposite of this? What about the parts of the world rich enough in history to leave behind vast trail networks, yet where a lack of use means that huge amounts of path have never seen bike tyres, and never even been trodden by anyone alive today? These trails will eventually be taken back by the mountain, via one of several natural means. One alternative is to find them, reopen them, and advocate their sustainable use. I had the good fortune of this activity being my job for quite a while. I get quizzed a lot about Provence. I always have, and that's okay. I'm comfortable talking about it. Outside of family, it's essentially all I've known for the past decade. For sure the most commonly asked question, especially after a day out on the hill, is how do you find all these trails? It's a question I've always appreciated because it appears to be an acknowledgement of what I've always tried to do. Constantly find and open fresh terrain and provide a live adventure into the unknown, even for those people who return to race our event year on year. But it's not a question that's easy to answer, not in words alone.
Well then, that's 800 done, 200 to go. There isn't really any kind of predetermined step-by-step procedures to this. It's more of a cyclical, iterative process, which is just centered around finding that glue, that one awesome trail around which the whole day can be based, really.
Every day goes as planned, if indeed the plan was to find great terrain.
Sometimes the map cannot be trusted. Oh Jesus, just doesn't work out.
But sometimes one needs to be more philosophical, because realistically the plan has to simply be to accrue knowledge without any major mishaps. If at the end of a day on the hill you know more than you did 24 hours ago, and you've scratched a few itches of curiosity, then you have taken a step in the right direction and enhanced your ability to put together a day worth riding. Given enough time, enough terrain touched by history, and a little bit of patience and tenacity, it becomes impossible not to happen upon the good stuff at some point.
If the approach trail is any indication of what this next bit's going to be like, we're in for a bit of a treat.
Open-minded scouting is a vital phase in determining the lay of the land, but to progress in the bigger picture of pioneering a long-distance mountain bike itinerary, eventually a more structured approach is going to be needed. A journey by trails requires the existence of a certain type of trail to allow the journey to be a genuine one, and therefore, when the whoops of excitement die down, careful consideration of the geometry of the terrain and a stringent vetting process will be required.